Today we are going to learn about characters and characterization. Characters are imaginary people or animals who take part in the action of a literary work. Here is a photo of my favorite character. This is Bilbo Baggins. He is the protagonist of The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Take a minute now to think about your favorite characters and what makes them memorable. Perhaps your favorite character has a wild sense of adventure. Maybe they are known for their bravery, but something makes that character stand out. So what is characterization? Characterization is the act of creating or describing a character. Writers use 3 major techniques to form a character, and we're going to learn about those throughout this presentation. On this slide, I'm going to introduce the 3 major techniques, and then we're going to talk about them individually later on. Technique number 1, showing what characters say, do, or think. This is known as indirect characterization. Technique number 2, describing what physical features, dress, and personality the characters display. This is another method of indirect characterization. Technique number 3, showing what other characters and the narrator say or think about them. This is known as direct characterization. Please note that there are 2 methods of indirect characterization, but only 1 method of direct characterization. Now we're going to look at them a little bit more in detail. Once again, this is technique number 1, showing what characters say, do, or think. So now we're looking at the character's behavior. What does the character say? What does the character do? And depending on the point of view, we might even know what the character is thinking. Let me introduce you to my character Paige. So now we're looking at what does Paige say, what does Paige do, and maybe even what is Paige thinking. Paige walks through the school hallway and knocks the books out of poor Amy's arms. What else does Paige do? Paige gossips about her classmates behind their backs. Paige does not seem like a very nice person. Based on Paige's actions, she knocked the books out of Amy's arms, she gossips, the reader can conclude that Paige is a mean girl. Because the narrator does not directly state Paige is a mean girl, this is known as indirect characterization. We need to take a look at the character's behavior and make a judgment call about the character. We are asked to draw conclusions. Technique number 2, describing what physical features, dress, and personality the characters display. The reader can draw conclusions about the character based on the physical description that's been provided in the text. Whether we want to admit it or not, we are always making judgments about people. If we see somebody dressed a certain way, we make a judgment call about that person's personality based on how they're dressed. Because the reader still needs to make a conclusion about the character, this is also indirect characterization. For example, here's a photo, and this is taken from the movie Annie. If the author or narrator describes a character as poorly dressed and dirty, what conclusion might one draw? The character is poor or perhaps homeless. Now, once again, we're asked to make a judgment call. We are drawing conclusions based on the information that the author has given us. We may not know this right away. It may develop as the story continues, but unless a character walks up to you and says, "Hi, I'm Bob, I'm homeless," we may not know that information for sure, but we can certainly make an educated guess. Technique number 3, showing what other characters and the narrator say or think about them. So poor Amy is complaining to her mom about this girl at school. page is so mean. The reader does not need to draw any conclusions about the character. There's no other way to interpret that information. It is directly told to the reader, so this is direct characterization. Whenever possible, try to use indirect characterization in your writing. This is evidence of mature writing. When we use direct characterization, it can come across as a little bit elementary. See spot walk, see spot run. Never underestimate the intelligence of your reader. Make them work for it. But as the writer, you need to describe the character in such a way as to lead the reader in the right direction. Let's summarize our 3 points. Once again, showing what characters say, do, or think, describing what physical features, dress, and personality the characters display, and showing what other characters and the narrator say or think about them. These are the 3 methods of characterization.